1. We're live. Welcome everybody to Soul and Social. Today is a really exciting day. My name is Tarah and I'm here with my fabulous co-host Renee. And we have a super special guest joining us, Harley Monte. Welcome to the show. I should have probably asked you how to pronounce your last name. I didn't before. That's my bad. Did I say that right?
Monte.
Monte. Perfect. So I'm just gonna talk about Harley here for a second, and then we're gonna have a fun chat today. I'm really excited about this. So in 1984, Harley attended a Sunday meeting that opened the door to an adventure that changed his life. He's been teaching, using, and demonstrating his abilities as a clairvoyant healer, Trance Medium ever since. In 2001, Harley was taught a number system by his guides that he calls power numbers, a system that describes characteristics of a person and how to handle them and the chances of a relationship between the different numbers. He is presently concentrating and connecting people with their loved ones for closure on both sides, helping people to find harmony with the spirit, the soul energy as they travel the path of life. Harley lives in Montreal, has his own business. Spiritual life is part of physical life. Harley and his physical and spiritual angels work have been included in Anne Diamond's books, My Cold War and Harley's Angels. So cool. So cool. Welcome to the show. That wasn't a few lines. I think I did all of that.
You're the boss.
Couldn't leave anything out.
It was all too good.
It
was just all too good to leave anything out. So, okay, I'm so excited to have you here. So I'm just going to give a shout out to Jess. I see she's here. I got introduced to Harley on her show. He was on The Breakthrough recently, and that was an amazing episode. So if you want, you can always go back and catch that one. It was great. They talked about some really cool stuff. So Harley, you got to tell us and the viewers here a little bit about how you got started doing this.
Well, it's an old story. It started when I was about 30 years old. There were things happening in my life I wasn't so happy about. And my wife was out of town, and I found this article in the newspaper that said, spiritual service, clairvoyance to follow. And I've always been fascinated by clairvoyance, even though nothing ever happened with it. So what I did was I went to this service, and towards the end of the service, when they do the clairvoyance, a gentleman pointed out to me and he said, can I speak to you, sir? And I looked around and he said, no, you. And he started telling me things about my business, freaked me out. Made a private appointment with him, freaked me out some more. And then in June, things started going bad again. So because usually people get into this type of stuff either out of curiosity or because things are happening in their life that they're not so happy with and they're looking for a solution. So I was looking for a solution. So I called him up and he was already down in Lilydale, and the woman suggested I see this woman, Edie. So I went to see Edie and she took me on my first guided meditation. I saw everything, the stairs, the gate, the guardian, the gate, the key that he gave me off his belt. I went into a building, no walls, only doors, went in, came out, gave him back the key, came down the stairs. And she said to me after, she said, well, what did you see in the room? So I said, I saw nothing. She said, it's funny, you should have seen your raison d'etre, your reason for being. So I said, well, I guess I don't have one. And honestly, that was the first time I realized that was the problem. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, why I was doing what I was doing, and where it was going to get me. And so she made me feel better, and I had a good week. So I went back the week after, and she had invited me to come back. Okay, she said, I'm having a circle, so come back next week. So I said, okay. I figured, witches under the moon, and so it was great. She did the same meditation, and I saw everything, and I wrote down on a piece of paper every little piece I had in my pocket. I wrote what I saw, and I'm living my raison d'etre. Now I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be speaking to people. I'm supposed to be teaching people. I'm supposed to be helping people through situations, and that's what I've done over the past 30 years. So I came back the week after, and it turned out to be a trance circle. So I sat in the trance circle. I was in trance the whole evening. And people told me after what I had done, and it freaked me out because this is not me. Okay. So anyways, I got the bug. There's no other way to say it. Okay. Every single time I heard about a haunted house where they were having a seance, I would go. Every time there was a class, I would go. Okay. And I can tell you, I lived through things that really freaked me out. In fact, the first time I ever sat in a rescue circle was in the house of a woman who was getting thrown out of bed every single night. She'd wind up on the floor. And the fellow I had met, Tony, was going to be the one going into trance to bring through the spirit of her son, who had committed suicide because of drugs. You see, they don't even want me talking about it. So anyways, what happened was he was in trance. He brought through her son. Nothing was happening. Nobody could convince him to go to the light. And all of a sudden, out of me, from what they tell me after, because when I'm in trance, I don't remember anything. They said that I said, "Is this the way you're going to talk? You?" And I am Jewish, okay? But I've never been to yeshiva. I've never been to rabbinical college, okay? You and I, who used to argue for hours over a little line, here you don't believe in God. You don't. How could you do that? As far as I'm concerned, you're dead. And I ripped my shirt, like as a tradition. We rip our shirt to show the tear in our heart.
Yeah.
I sat down on the floor, which is another thing that we do. We sit on lower chairs because we have to be lower than everybody else. I sat down on the floor and I started reciting the prayer for the dead. Mm. And he said, "You're doing that for me." And it seems I said to him, "Yes, because as far as I'm concerned, if you don't believe in God, you're dead." And he says, "Okay, I understand now." And that woman never got thrown out of bed again. And when you have experiences like this, when you have experiences like this over and over and over again, you can't help but believe. The stronger you believe, the more you want to do. Okay? So that's how I got involved, is by going and doing things I never learned from anybody of this level. Okay? Not because I don't think there's anybody worthy to learn from, but because I get the situations thrown to me by spirit. Okay? And when I ask them, okay, what do? They're the ones that teach me. Mm-hmm. And then I apply it and I know it works. So, it's like I tell people when I was teaching, you're going to come to a circle and you're going to meditate once a week. Forget it. You're not going to get anywhere. You have to develop it. It's like playing piano. If you go and play chopsticks, all you're ever going to play is chopsticks. So what my job was to teach people to play Bach or Chopin or something else. And a lot of my students have moved on. And I have one, okay, who is the most renowned psychic in Spain. And he was one of my students. And, I've had others that have moved along as well. So, that to me is what's important. When somebody comes up, I was doing a Sunday night service, okay, where I was associated. And somebody came up to me and said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "No, I don't." He says, "Oh, because I was one of your students and I'm going to be working the platform with you tonight."
Oh, wow.
And it freaked me out that this was one of my students who was coming and working with me on the same platform. It was a totally amazing situation.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Well, yeah, and it's interesting, and then when you talk about everything being energy, right? And we all know that. Well, at least I know that, or think that. And that's, when it comes down to me, like you say, you really pick up on vibrations and energies of people. So do you feel like is it something similar, or is it more like a kind of like an outside experience? It's like, I meditate and I get it. You can get into some really different states, obviously, in meditation. So is it when you're in those deeper states that do you? Renee, I can't talk today.
I think I'm catching the vibe of what you're going to
What
say.
am I asking? Telepathically,
There's different types of meditation. You can meditate just to relax, okay? And they say that 20 minutes meditation is like 3 hours of sleep. Okay, mm-hmm. You can go into meditation to pray for other people. Okay, you can go into meditation to pray for yourself. You go in meditation to talk to your spirit guides and to learn from your spirit guides. Grounding, cleansing your aura and your chakras is very, very important and should be done on a regular basis, almost like balancing the wheels on your car and aligning the car.
You're supposed to do that?
I'm sorry?
You're supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was bad.
I can talking directly towards you. Okay, this isn't all about you.
It's just because I'm looking you straight in the eye right now that you forget there's other people watching, you know?
Right, exactly, exactly.
She's
So
like, he's only
I'm here
talking
to
to me.
remind you that was the whole purpose of the show. Goodbye. It's been nice.
We're done.
Okay. So anyways, it's important. Okay, it's very, very important. And the thing is that you have to build a trust in your abilities to do this type of work. Okay, because there's a very fine line between imagination and the reality of spirit work. Okay, is it my imagination? Am I seeing the woman lying in that bed over there? There's nobody there. Okay, so you wonder sometimes, but the more that you do, the more you believe in your abilities, the more you believe that spirit is actually working with you. Because I remember the first night I went into trance and I went home, there were scriptures written on my ceiling. Okay, and I couldn't close my eyes. I didn't understand what they were, but they were being fed to me. I was told messages that I had to tell this one and I had to tell that one, and I actually thought I was possessed. Okay, but once you get an understanding of what they're trying to do with you, and they get an understanding that you know that you're the boss, not them. Okay, then you come to a happy medium where you can coexist. And so there are times I do shut it off, and for the longest I can't I can't imagine that I actually did this. For the longest time, I would say to people, my spirits are not here for me. They're here for everybody else. Okay. And then I met this gentleman, okay, from Seattle. I forget his name. Okay. And he came to me. I was giving a seminar on shamanistic healing. And he was in my seminar, and we had some really good breakthroughs. It was really great. And then he came to me and he says, I want to know a little more how I can add shamanism in. I pronounce it shamanism. I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay. How can I bring shamanism into my practice? I didn't know what he did. It was, I didn't have to know. So I started telling him that he can use it to help people to understand what's going on around them and this and over and different things. And he said, okay. I said, I have to go now. He says, well, how much do I owe you? And I said, well, we're at a conference. Give a donation. Okay. So he says, no, I want to ask you a question. I said, okay. He says, why don't you take care of your diabetes? I admit I'm a diabetic. Okay. I said, well, I am. I started taking my pills and I'm doing this and I'm doing. He says, no, don't lie to me. Okay. So I said, well, because it's my escape mechanism. Okay. If I want to go, that's the way to go. And my wife gets the insurance money. Never thought I would say anything like that in my life. It was never even a thought. So he says, okay, why don't you? I said, let's start with me. Everybody says this. Why don't I ask my spirit guides to help me? So I said, look, they're here for everybody else, not for me. He says, no, that's not, listen to what I'm saying. Why don't you ask them if they can help you? I said, wow. So I leaned back and I put my hands on the arms of the chair and I just closed my eyes, and I can go into trance on a bus now. Okay. So anyway, I closed my eyes and all of a sudden my joy guide, Richard, who was 7 years old when he passed away, okay, in an institutional fire that he got accused of starting. He swears to me he didn't. Okay. And did I mention he was an autistic? Okay. So what happened was all of a sudden he comes through, and my daughter, God bless her, says to me, okay, not Shoshana, my other daughter, Davida, says to me, Daddy, you should go to the comedy nest, go into trance and bring Richard through because he will entertain everybody. People love him when he comes through, okay? He's developed so much in the 30 years that I know him because he hangs out with my rabbis and my other spirits, and so he's overcome a lot of his autism, okay? And he's got a sense of humor. So he says, well, you know what? It's about time I can't do his voice when I'm not in trance. He says, it's about time. We've been waiting for him to ask us for years. Okay, finally, he's asking us, thank you very much. He says, I'm his joy guide. If I'm not making him happy, I'll stand by the side, okay, and let him pick somebody else, okay? But we will never leave his side. He has helped so many people and so many spirits. We will not leave him. And it changed my life again, another new chapter of my life, where everything that was my problems disappeared that day. Including drinking over 2 liters of Diet Coke a day.
Wow.
Which is not good for a diabetic, even though they say no sugar.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just amazing how spirit can help you if you allow them to help you. And a lot of the people I meet now, okay, they want their loved ones to come to them, but they put up walls. They don't let them come in. And so what I'm trying to do is make it more comfortable for people to be able to talk with their loved ones, to understand the situations, ask the questions they have to ask in order to enable them to move on in life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't interrupt me once in a while, you're not going to get a word in at all. So
I was doing so good with not saying anything. Is Tarah there?
yeah.
Oh, we can't hear you, Tarah.
That's because I'm on mute.
I was wondering what was going on there.
You can hear me now. It was not meant to be spoken, what I said.
I don't know if I'm happy about that, but
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I have to ask, for those of us who don't, you know, who haven't experienced these types of gifts like you have, because they are gifts, and you
not
know,
a gift.
you don't. Oh,
No.
okay. So
it's not a curse. It's not a curse either.
No.
What it is an ability.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you develop the ability, you can use it for yourself and for all those around you, for the good of all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But to call it a gift to me is wrong, because it's everybody has it to one level or another. It's whether or not you develop it.
Well, and you know, it's been interesting because I've been doing a course myself on soul inquiry and inner temple stuff and all this. And you mentioned being brought up Jewish, and I was brought up very Pentecostal, which this stuff would have been like, we're going to have an exorcism for you and an intervention, and you'll go to the best Bible college that we can find. So
with gates all the way around.
Yes. Leave room for Jesus. So, you know, for myself, I know my belief system has not changed from what it was, although my language around my beliefs is a lot different. So I know for some who may be watching, there may be, you know, there could be a fear, because I know for myself growing up, this type of stuff was not talked about. My dad had been a part of I don't want to say exorcism, but there was something of that type of thing done when I was young on some, like a family friend. And so it was stuff I was aware of. But, you know, you talk about talking to your spirit guides and I'm not going to use the right word here. You were talking about your joy guide and the autistic boy. How do you find out who those guides are? Do you know what I mean?
Meditation.
Well, and you know, it's interesting when you do shut down your brain, you do start to connect. And
right. The thing that I tell people, okay, if you want to read, okay, a self-help book, go right ahead. Mm-hmm. Pick from the self-help book what you need, what feels comfortable for you, and develop your own system. Mm-hmm. To sit down with a tape of Shirley MacLaine reading a meditation isn't the way to learn to meditate.
No.
You know, first of all, I don't believe in meditating lying down, because I fall asleep, and most people will. Okay, it's better to sit up. Mm-hmm. Okay, and first of all, the thing that you do, and I've used this over and over again. Okay, you have to protect yourself.
Yes.
Okay, and so who do we ask to protect us? We don't ask an insurance company. We go straight to God. As God as you know that God to be. And you say, dear God, put your energy around me. Keep me safe as I go into this meditation. Now, people stop there and say, okay, that's enough. I don't. Mm-hmm. Okay. What I do is I tell people at that point, you say, allow this meditation to last 15 minutes. Check the clock. 15 minutes, you'll be out of the meditative state. If there is something that I hear that I have to react to, okay, to be safe, I want to hear it. If something happens, you'll hear it. If the phone rings and it's important I answer, allow me to come out of the meditative state and answer. You might go to your phone and find messages you did not even hear the phone ring because they weren't important.
Yeah.
Okay. So by surrounding yourself with God's divine energy, you're protecting yourself and no harm can come to you. The other thing that you can say is, dear God, I want this meditative state to be on a certain level of what we call the white light.
Yes.
Okay, and we do that sometimes when we're doing a meditation, and it's just when we do trance, which is a form of meditation. Okay, we'll say we want spirits that come of the higher levels of the white light because we're there to learn. Okay, other times when we're doing soul rescue, we say, "Dear God, spirits that come from whatever level, allow them to come through. Protect me as they enter my body and use my body as an instrument." My wife was always scared I was going to come home as somebody different. And I said, maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing. But okay. So,
And it's just nice to dispel some of these beliefs that I know it makes people nervous because it's not something we see every day.
if you open up the prayer book,
Yeah.
a Hebrew prayer book, okay, there's something called the reader's meditation.
Yes.
Okay, meditation is part of all religion.
Yes.
Okay, your silent devotions in Catholicism is a form of meditation. Okay, to talk to Mary or Jesus or to our forefathers, okay, is types of spirit communication. Okay, the fact is that we're so brought into the new way of looking at things, the religious way rather than the spiritual way.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I'm supposed to sit with 10 men when I pray. Okay, I'm sure that God hears me just as well when I pray alone.
I am with you, and I don't
Okay.
think I need to be on my knees. I can sit on my bum.
and you don't have to repeat it over and over again.
No.
I've been very, very sick on and off for the past 15 years. I have
Yeah.
a friend who's a rabbi. Okay, and he lives in Jerusalem, and I'm going to synagogue, which he does every day anyway. He says, I'm going to say mishpech for you, a prayer healing. I said, thank you very much. I'm going to the Welling Wall. I'm going to put a message in the wall for you. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. One day I was feeling pretty good, and he says, I'm going to go to the Western Wall. I'm going to put in a message for you. I said, don't bother. So he was a little concerned that I was losing my beliefs, So he said, why? So I said, well, to be honest with you, I think God's getting tired of hearing my name.
Yeah.
I said, you got to give him a chance to do what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And he's doing something because I'm feeling better. So let's not bother him. He's got other things to worry about. Let's not bother him about me. And I started getting better.
Yeah.
And that you got to understand that all of this work that we do in this field, okay, is about belief mechanisms. So if you believe, okay, that you're going to get better, your etheric body does heal, and if your etheric body heals, so does your physical body.
Yeah.
Okay? And depending on how strong your belief mechanism is, how fast it's going to take. And we're our own worst enemies. I know
We
I
are.
am. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's important. I'm a storyteller. I'm a shaman. I can tell you a story. When I was sick, one of the times I was sick, I have a neighbor. His father is a big shot in the synagogue. Was donating a Torah, the five books of Moses, the scrolls, and he said, Harley, when we dedicate a Torah, it's like a wedding, okay? Because we're wedding the five books of Moses to the synagogue. So he says, why don't you come? You haven't been out in a long time. So I said, okay. I got dressed up. I went. Okay. He comes up to me later and he says, what they do is they raffle off, okay, letters. And you hold the scribe's hand while he's writing that letter. It costs money, but you do it. So anyways, I wait till prices came down a bit. And he says to me, Harley, ask for a shin. Letter shin. Okay. So I said, okay. So I buy it, okay? And the next day I was studying with this Kabbalistic rabbi, okay? And he came in the next day and he says, well, what do you want to study? The ethics of the fathers or, a couple law? I said, you know what, Rabbi? I don't want to study today. I want you to check my mezuzahs. Mezuzah is that little scroll that we put on the outside of our door, okay? Which has God's name in it 613 times, I think, in different ways, okay? And so it's protection. Okay, it's not quite like paying off the mafia, but it's protection. Okay, so what happened was I want you to check them because what happens is it's written on parchment and the ink dries and falls off. So he checks them. This one's no good. This one's good. This one's no good. We have them on. Well, I didn't have them, but you're supposed to have them on all the doors. So anyways, he gets to my bedroom and I give him the mezuzah from my bedroom and he opens it up, takes a look at it and he says, oh my God. I said, Rabbi, you're saying, oh my God? He says, oh my God. I had told him the story because he asked me why I wanted to do this. I told him the story about the shin. So so I said, "What's the matter?" He says, "Look, it's missing the shin." Okay. So I bought the letter that was missing on the most important, as far as I'm concerned, the most important mezuzah in my house is the one on my bedroom door. So I went out and I bought new ones and we fixed it up, and then again I started getting a little better. But if I would have believed that, okay, I changed my mezuzah, I'm going to be fantastic from now on, that would have happened.
Yeah. It
But
sure would.
we hold ourselves back. Okay, there's things that happen. Okay, we go to the doctor. The doctor tells us this. It makes us feel bad again. One doctor actually said to me, "Are you depressed?" I said, "No, I'm medically frustrated because I couldn't get answers." Okay, so I turned to my spirit guides and I asked them, and they said, "Have patience. It's going to work out." And I had patience, and it's working out bit by bit. It's getting much better. In fact, I don't even know why I talk about it anymore because it's in the past. And I don't believe in going too far into the past. I like to live for today, for the future.
I love
Love
that.
So
Yeah.
so that's the story of the shin in the mezuzah. But it's funny. I went to rabbis, and I'm not shy. I said, "Rabbi, I talk to spirits." Okay. And he says, "Okay." And so, and I asked a couple of them, and one said to me, he said, "Well, the prophets used to do that." So, and he says, the age of the prophets is that never came back. So he says, maybe you have this ability. I would never compare myself to a prophet. Okay.
Yeah.
And then another rabbi says, "Okay, it's okay what you do." After researching it, I had to wait a week for him to tell me. As long as you don't use a body part, okay, as long as you don't go looking for spirits,
Yeah.
okay, then you can do it. And the reason being is, one is too much like witchcraft,
Yeah.
okay, even a locket of hair, okay, and the other one is called disturbing the dead. And I realized when he told me that, every time I did try to look for Harry, for example, okay, I got imposters. I got thrown out of my meditative or my trance state. I couldn't do anything. It was a flop. Okay. And I realized that it's like a Ouija board. And I have stories about Ouija boards if you want. Okay. It's like a Ouija board. If you say to the Ouija board, or the spirit that's you've invoked, okay, "What is your name?" he'll answer you. Okay, or she'll answer you. If you say, "Is your name Harry?" they'll say yes. And that means you have an imposter. You have a low-level spirit. Okay, when you might be looking for one that's way up high. So you have to be careful how you do this type of stuff.
Yeah.
If you use your common sense, if you surround yourself with that insurance policy called white light, you can't do any harm. It's when you try and do things because you think you know better than the energies of the universe, that's when you're going to get into trouble.
That makes a lot of sense, I think.
Yeah.
So, Harley, I want to touch base a little bit too on energy clearing in homes. That's something that I talk a lot about. Renee and we talk a lot about mindfulness. We have our practices, and I know people have different practices that they do.
Right.
But I think being mindful and intentional about the energy in your home is something that is important. And I know you have some experiences, and that's something that you do with and work with people as well, right?
Yes, very much so. Okay, one of the things that you have to realize, okay, is that we're not the only ones that create negative energy. Okay, as positive as we want to be, okay, we get a traffic ticket, we start to curse, it's a negative energy, right? Okay, but the four worst places, well, five, we'll talk about the fifth one a little bit. The four worst places to work for negative energy is hospitals and healthcare.
Oh, I bet.
People are sick. Sickness is negative. If you work there, even if you walk through the halls, you're absorbing all of this energy and you bring it home. Okay. Second worst place to work for negative energy: banks and finance. Everybody has financial problems. What do you mean you won't lend me $10,000? You lent him $1 million. He screwed you. I won't screw you. I'm going to lose my house. It's a negative energy. Okay. Third worst place to work. Okay. And this is a new one I just added in. Okay. Customer care. Our compensation board here in Quebec has decided that if you get burnout because of customer care, okay, it is a compensationable situation. That's how bad the negative energy. And I do have a store.
Wow.
And I have to deal with, I try and let my daughter deal with them, but I have to deal with these guys sometimes. And I tell you, I go like this as fast as I can, get away, get that negative energy away. And so that is a form of negative energy. The fourth one, okay, is hairdressers. Okay. And everybody laughs at that. Okay.
Yeah.
But I did a reading for a woman last week who I didn't know was a hairdresser. Well, she does threading.
Yeah.
Okay, but she works in a hairdresser. Okay, and you know, they hear stories. I mean, the example I use is, you know, I was driving down the street last week with my boyfriend. My husband was home. He's never home Wednesday afternoon. They tell their operators everything, everything. Okay, but that's
true.
not the worst part. The worst part is if you're
Touching. Sorry.
crown chakra. The crown chakra is where the energy comes from within and goes out into your etheric field or into your aura. Okay, so if you're a negative person, your hairdresser's cutting hair around the crown chakra, all that negative energy. I'm sure you've seen, and I laughed the first time I saw a hairdresser, you know, wiping off the hair. You know, basically what they should be doing is say, "Dear God, take whatever negativity's on this hair and take it off of me too." Okay, I've been in the houses with the people who work in these 4 situations, and it is so bad. The accumulation of negative energy that if you have a pet, even the pet will not be doing well. Okay, if there are other people in the house, one who might be ill, okay, they won't be doing well. Get rid of that negative energy, and you will see the difference right away. Now, if you go to my website, okay, harleymonte.com, okay, you'll see me cleansing a house from going around with my divining rods, okay, and showing where what happens with the divining rods is they cross when there's negative energy, they open up when it's positive. And I can play with them, and they're glass tubes. I can play with them, but they'll always go back to where they were. Okay, I can't influence them to move a different way because of the glass tubes. So what happens, okay, is first of all you find out where the negative energy is. Quite often you will find it in the basement.
Yeah.
Negative energy goes down. I remember once I was listening to a radio broadcast at Halloween, and I got quite a laugh out of it because they said that you find more. It was a white witch who was on, and she says you will find more spirits in the bathroom than anywhere else in the house. So the host said, "Why?" So he said, "Well, because they have such bad experiences in the bathroom, you know." And technically, it's because of the water. Okay.
Really?
Well, what is a spirit? Spirit is energy.
Energy.
Yeah.
Okay?
It was coming.
So
We're both like, energy.
So energy travels along water.
Yeah.
Right? It's a conductor of electricity. Right? So when there's outlets such as the laundry room, the bathroom, okay, you will find that spirit has passed through there. You don't necessarily find them clamoring in, waiting to flush the toilet. Okay? So you know, when you go down to the basement, you'll find that the energy is much denser than it is anywhere else in the house. But these rods will also show you if you're having problems with an appliance. It will show you if there's a leak in the roof. Okay, because when I'm walking around with them, okay, it will actually cross if there's a mechanical problem or a leakage problem or something like that. Okay, so it's not just the negative energies. Then I go around, okay, and this is a system that I developed. It was developed over 5,000 years ago, okay. For Passover, we're not supposed to eat anything that's leavened, okay, that has rised. We eat matzah, which is unleavened. And so we go around the house, the husband or the father goes around the house the night before Passover with a little wooden spoon and with a feather, and the wife puts down a little piece of bread and he scoops it into the wooden spoon and he says, all that the leaven that I've collected, okay, is now gone from this house, okay, or else it has been accounted as the dust of the earth. Okay, and in our family we do it in every room. Then we wrap it up, and we take it and we burn it at 10 o'clock the next morning, symbolically burning all of our what we call chametz. Most of it we've sold to somebody else who's not Jewish, and we buy it back after. you know, economics, what can I tell you?
So now, Harley, is this why when people go through divorces and, you know, the spouse ends up in the basement, is that why the negative energy goes down there?
It's not going to make the
Did I say that out loud? I'm kidding.
situation better. I'll tell you that. But
When you got to clear it out, right?
when you go into a house that has, I can walk into a house, I can tell you if there was a bankruptcy, I can tell you if there was a rape, I can tell you if there was murder, I can tell you if there was a divorce. Quite often, there's actually something physically wrong with the house that you can say is responsible for the divorce. For example, okay, buy a house from a bank. Okay, people who own the house and lost it, probably because they didn't want to settle up with their spouse for the amount of the house, okay, usually go through a divorce. That energy is still in the house. Okay, so the people moving in. Then there's other times I've gone into a house and, you know, it's very, very modern to have cut mirrors, one beside the other with a gap in between. You don't want to break up the image of a person, because when you break up the image of the person, you're breaking up the person.
Oh.
Okay? And I've found that type of mirror in so many houses that have had divorces. It's unbelievable. Okay, and there's something to it, because when somebody dies in the Jewish tradition, we sit Shiva, which is 7 days of mourning. Okay, and what we do is we cover all the mirrors. And people say, "Oh, you cover the mirrors because you shouldn't see how bad you look when you're in mourning." And I just laugh and I say, "No, it's because you don't want to see your father over your left shoulder." Okay, because you can actually see spirits in mirrors. Okay,
Really?
and spirits don't really leave this level. Okay, if they're free to leave, okay, they don't usually leave for 48 to 72 hours after burial. They leave the body 24 to 48 hours before death, unless it's accidental. Okay, so spirit is hanging around, and you don't want to see your father over your shoulder. So that's why I feel we cover mirrors. Okay, so you know there's all sorts of traditions, and we could take it into all sorts of different ways. Okay, and so we're back to what we were discussing at the very beginning. Okay, it's all about belief mechanisms. Okay, so then I go around with a candle. Okay, like we do before Passover. Okay, and I wick all the negative energy with that feather into the candle. I say, "Dear God, take the negative energy, burn it up." And I'm not scared to tell you what to do. Okay, I don't want to come to your house to do it. I want you to take care of it yourself, because I'll come once, maybe I'll come twice. It's going to cost you money. You might as well do it yourself. Okay? So you cleanse away that negative energy. You snuff out the candle. You wrap it up in tin foil. Okay, you should have tin foil under it anyways. Wait till the wax gels, because you don't want to ruin your carpet. Okay, and take it and throw it out of the house right away. Okay, saying, "Dear God, what's in this candle, let it go." You will see a difference in 24 to 48 hours. Okay, now this is suggestive, right?
Yeah.
What I'm telling you, you know, you can say, "Well, you know, he's telling me what to expect." Okay, you got people in the house who aren't listening to this broadcast. If you do it and you see a change in them, then you'll believe this. Okay, because they're not getting the suggestion that you're getting.
Yeah.
And it's just, it works. You can get the proof. Okay, by doing it yourself, by seeing it, by feeling it, you'll get the proof. And then you'll go on and you'll want to do more. And that's what happened with me. The more that I do, the more I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
I know. Well, we do our practices of clearing too, hey?
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Jessica commented here, "I know my grandmother took on a lot wanting her salon." I think referring back to when you were talking about that crown chakra area. And yeah, I thought that was really interesting the way you worded that, because I used to own a salon spa back in the day. So it's, I totally can relate to exactly what you're saying.
How did that work out for you?
Well, I sold it when the girls were 1.
Any particular reason?
Well, yeah, and it was a combination of a lot of things. Well, one, having twin babies at 1 was not congruent with 15 staff or whatever. But yeah, no, definitely it was, yeah.
So you see, we can find fact to back up any belief.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're always going to run into the skeptic who's never going to believe anything you say.
Yeah.
And what I say to them is, they say, "Well, prove to me that this works." And my answer is, prove to me that it doesn't, because it works for me.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
can you tell us a little bit about the number stuff?
Numbers is okay.
Just a little bit, because I'm curious.
I was out on the East Coast and I was doing readings, and I had this woman who wouldn't accept anything I said. And this is going back about 18, 20 years ago. And I couldn't accept that. You know, I take my work seriously. So I say to my spirit guides, okay, what do I do? So they said, ask for her birthday. So I said, okay, if I ask a question, maybe she'll warm up to me a little bit, you know? So I asked for her birthday and I started to add it up, okay? And I said, oh, she's a number one. Okay, you're going to see this. This is going to happen to you, okay? And over, you. And in 10 minutes, she accepted everything I said in the half hour before. And she sent me 4 clients. She was happy. Started doing it with everybody, not knowing what I was doing, but it changed my delivery. I don't talk to a number 4 the same way I talk to a number 1, okay? And so then I'm in the Midwest and I tell this woman, okay, you're in physical danger. Leave the relationship you're in now. Okay, and she's crying, and I got people waiting outside. So I say to my spirit guides, what do I do? They say, well, ask for his birthday, stupid. So I said, okay. And I asked for his birthday, and I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I said, I come out to a number, and I don't want to scare people by telling you what the number is. Okay, and all of a sudden my pen leaves my hand, hits the wall. Okay, and I say, oh my God, he's a manic depressant. He's off his meds. Okay, so she turns around to me as if she wasn't crying and said, how do you know? So I said, I don't know. I'm just telling you, this is what my spirits are telling me to tell you. Okay, he's off his meds. Be careful. 3 nights later, I get a phone call. They're still in the Midwest. And she says to me, thank you for saving my life. First, I couldn't realize who it was because I'm like semi-gone when I do these things. Okay, and so I said, why? What happened? And she said, well, I went home and I hid his guns. He came home last night, which was 2 nights later, like I told her, and he was looking for his guns to kill her. And she had the power to call the police, because before she would never call the police. Okay, this time she did. When they came and got him, they didn't even take him to jail. They took him right to the hospital. That's how bad it was. And if you speak to anybody who's in that trade, they'll tell you that when somebody is feeling better, okay, because of the meds, eventually they'll stop the meds because I don't need it anymore. And then the circle starts again. Okay, so you can imagine what number it would be. So that being said, okay, that night I did a meditation and I asked my spirit guides, teach me the system. And of course, Richard gets involved and he gives me some of the values. Like number 1 is like Hertz Rent-A-Car. We're number 1. Okay. The second one is like Avis. We're number 2, so we try harder, and on and on and on. So there's a little bit of humor in the definitions, but if you don't know that Richard gave it to me, you wouldn't know about that. And I started using it, and then I started teaching it to people who do psychotherapy. Okay, I taught it to people. But the hiccup was, once when I was in New York and I was teaching the system, I made a mistake. Okay, and the mistake was, okay, this person is a 2-6 going to an 8, okay, and they've had 0 situations in their life, and a 0 is equal to nothing, so they've had situations where they feel like nothing, and they had one, and 0 is a circle, so it goes around and around and around. They had one 2.5 years ago, they had one 7 years ago, they had one 15 years ago. Where did you get that? That's not in the handout you gave out. And then I realized, whoops, I finally let the cat out of the bag. Numerology has to have a certain aspect of intuition involved in it. So the numerology helps me to get started, and then the intuition takes over, okay? And I can tell you through numerology, I can't really tell you what's going to happen today to get you to tomorrow. I don't tell the future. Future's in your hands and the hands of God. But, you know, by putting in the intuition, I'm able to tell you about situations that have started and where they possibly could go. So that's the number system. Should we do a little example?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Eh?
Sure.
Okay. So who? It could be one of you two, or it could be somebody you know. I don't have to know who the person is.
Oh, Renee, why don't you give a number? Birthday of somebody that you know. Go for it.
Okay, you need my birthday?
Well, if
Or
it's
somebody
about
you know.
you, yeah, or somebody else, your choice. This time it could be about you if you want.
You'll let me have it. Hey?
Yeah. What is
It's 7/15.
7?
Yeah. 15,
Yeah.
1976.
Oh, youngster. Okay,
Thank you.
now I can break into your bank account.
Sounds good. There's not a
yeah.
lot there.
Okay. Okay, I gotta find my glasses so I can see what I wrote. 8, 13, 23, 30, 3, 6 going to a 9. 9 in my number system is versatile power, able to do anything you have to do in any way you have to do it. You're a chameleon, okay? And you know that, okay? And you use that, and you should continue to use that because that's part of your character. That's part of who you are, okay? You're coming from a 3, 6 going to a 9, okay? And so as much as I call it versatile power, I also added on a subtitle of the engineer's number, because the sense of logic that you have is absolutely amazing. If I were to give you this pen, you'd find something better to do with it than I could think of doing with it. Okay? So that being said, there's a lot of creativity, and we'll get to that in a minute. Okay? So 9 being versatile power, we said that you can do anything you have to do in any way you have to do it. And that gives you 3 threes, right? And 3s are spiritual and self-beliefs. And you have one in the first column as well. And if we take 2 from the secondary position, from the number 6, we put 3. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3s that you can call upon to do whatever it is you have to do. And that's where the versatile power comes in. Okay? Now 3s are also creativities. Okay? So you are a creative person. Okay? However, one of those creativities, one of the number 3s is failure is not an acceptable position. Okay? So you don't give up. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to compare you to a pit bull, but people could see the analogy in a certain way. Okay?
That may be agreed with.
Okay. So then the other thing is, is that what happens with people like this, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Can you see the 3s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is people pick 1 or 2 or 3 of them, okay, and they say, these are the creativities, these are the belief mechanisms that I'm going to follow in my life. These are the ones that work for me, okay? And that's where the expression came from, think out of the box. Because as much as you're versatile, if you get stuck on 1 or 2 3s, you don't know what else is going to work for you. So it's like being in a truck and spinning your wheels and gets deeper and deeper in the mud. Try something else. Okay? Connected to what you're doing. I'm not saying change your life completely, but try to do what you're doing in another era of the way you're doing it now. Okay? And that also comes from belief mechanisms, because if you believe in something, you do it. If you don't believe in it, you won't. Now, the number 6, okay, and this one applies to you more than all the others. 6 is what we call the teacher's number. Okay? So I don't know at one time or another if you were planning to go into teaching. Okay? But what is teaching? Teaching is standing up in front of 27 brats. Teaching is teaching people how to deal with life situations. Teaching is teaching people how to deal with work situations. And even a sales rep is a teacher because they have to teach why their product is better than everybody else's. Okay? So what is teaching all about? It's all about communication. And you are a communicator.
I'm a little
And
worried.
you can communicate in more than one way. Okay? My daughters always used to say I didn't have to say anything. I could just look at them and they understand. I'm a 33, okay? So, but what it is, okay, is that you have this ability to communicate and you have to use it. Okay? The thing with you, however, is you can communicate on multi-levels because of the versatile power. You want to communicate through thought, you can do it. Trust me, you know that you can do it. You have done it. You send out a thought to somebody, they will come back and they will call you. Right? Okay? So there's that. You can communicate on the physical level. Okay? And you can communicate with spirit as well, which for a while you were doing extremely high amount, and lately you're sort of teetered off on it a little bit. Okay?
Yeah.
and they're telling me they're waiting for you to come back. Okay.
Sounds good.
And if you ask them the right questions, they will give you the right answers. And
Hmm.
people can actually use you as a form of being able to communicate with spirit. You might not be a trance medium unless you train yourself to do so, but that doesn't stop you from being a medium. And trust me, you're more of a medium than I am because I'm an extra large. Okay. So that being said, okay, when we take 3 times 3, okay, becomes 33, and so we also call it the Christ number. Okay, why? It was Jesus' age when he was put on the cross, right? And Jesus was a teacher. He was a rabbi. Rabbis used to teach in those days. Okay, and if you follow the scriptures, he taught the masses. Okay, so that's where this teaching ability comes from. Okay, and it's part of who you are. Were you ever, when you were trying to decide what you wanted to do in life, were you ever trying to make a life for yourself by becoming a teacher?
It was one of those things that I hadn't thought of, but it was funny because after my divorce, I was, as we all do, seeing a therapist, and she made some comment to me about something. I don't remember what it was. And she'd asked me a question, and I'm like, I could see myself on a stage talking.
Yeah, TED Talk, that would be wonderful with you.
And it's just been one of those things. I mean, I have done a fair bit of public speaking, but it's one of those things that I know it's there. I'm just
waiting for the right moment.
Yep.
Okay, who decides this right moment for you? Okay, because you know all the people who are waiting to hear from you and they're not. Okay, you are disappointing so many people. Is that enough encouragement to make you want to go and do it more?
It's funny because I'm doing this course, and this morning this poem comes across, and it said, the header of it is, you've been training for this for lifetimes. If you don't feel ready, if you feel unprepared, I want you to know that this moment right here, you've been training for it for lifetime. So it's funny you say that. So anyway.
Well, okay, if you think it's funny, fine. I take it as an affirmation.
Funny, ironic.
But the other thing is, okay, is that you know about creativity, right? Mm-hmm. If you write a book, if you paint, and if you don't show it to anybody, it's nothing. You have so much to share, okay? And you have so much more that you can learn to share, because what do teachers teach? They teach what they learn. Mm-hmm. Learn by your experiences and share them. Okay, I told you I'm a diabetic, okay? That's an experience I've had. Mm-hmm. I share it, okay? So share your experiences. Let people learn from what you have gone through, okay? But the most important thing is, okay, is if you believe in something, you do it. If you don't believe in it, you don't, okay? And that is the basis of who you are. I don't think, okay, I really don't. Well, actually, if we go back 5 years ago, okay, you did tell a lie, okay? I don't think you've told a lie since then. Can you relate to that situation 5 years ago?
I can, yes.
Okay. You haven't lied since, have you?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Good girl. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
So you have learned from your lessons, okay, what you need to go on and do more. Mm-hmm. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Gold star.
Aw, Nene.
Okay.
That was intense.
Not for me, might have been for you.
It was funny. Tarah was messaging me this morning before the show, and I'm doing my course, and I'm like, I made some comment about being nervous about the show, and I'm never nervous for our shows. And she's like, why are you nervous? And I'm like, I think he's going to tell me something I've been waiting to hear.
This is a true story.
So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Go ahead.
How are we doing on time?
I know. I'm like, wow, we're really over time today.
Well, I hope people appreciate the little extra. I don't know.
It is. Well, and I do want to say, in case anybody watching now knows, Harley is going to be joining me on News for the Soul tomorrow. And that is a live call-in show. So he will be there. So if you do have any questions or there's something that you want to know, you can phone in and you'll be able to chat with us live. So that'll be awesome. Tomorrow at 12 Mountain and 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yay. Okay.
Not 5 in the morning.
And please understand that it's not just a call-in for messages. Okay.
Yes.
If you have a question about technique, if you have a question about belief mechanisms, please share them with us. It's by sharing information like that that we all learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, anybody watching this live too, drop any comments that you have below. Because yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are interested in learn a little bit more about technique.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, you mentioned a lot of things today that were really interesting that I've never thought of because, like I said, that's something I know I do. Renee does. We practice clearing the energy in our homes on a regular basis ourselves. And but you pointed out some things that I hadn't thought of, so I really appreciated that.
The thing I really forgot to mention, okay, is the reason I don't smudge is because of my allergies. It's not because I don't believe in it. So if you want to smudge, go ahead. Whatever works for you.
Jessica says, awesome show. Me and all of my town have been listening as I run errands. She lives in a small town.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Harley. This has been really fascinating.
My
And,
pleasure.
it's kind of neat to dispel some of the myths, that we spent a bit of time on the show with and people's fears, because we are afraid of what we don't know. And when we shed light on what we don't know, it eliminates the fear. So it's always nice to, kind of do a little bit of that too. And your story is really incredible. And, I think it's amazing that you've given your life to doing this work and helping people and being of service. So thank you for doing that.
Remember, fear is darkness, knowledge is light.
Yes.
I
love that.
And we can let everybody know, where can everybody find you, Harley?
Yes.
You've got your website. We'll drop the links below so people can connect with you if they want to learn more about what you do.
Yeah, harleymonte.com. Relatively new. There's a couple of stuff on there. Starting a blog on the meaning of Jacob's ladder, okay, and what it means in the sense of angels traveling from heaven to earth and back up, and also as a conduit of dreams and prayers.
Ooh,
so that's going to be starting very shortly.
Love it. I love it.
Thank you so much, Harley. And
my pleasure.
Thank you for your time and joining us. And we'd love to have you back again sometime. And I will definitely be taking your advice and rewatching this show. Chew on this a little bit and make something happen.
Okay.
But thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for your time. We value your time. And we hope you got something out of this. Please share, love, comment, and
tell your friends.
Love out there. Yeah. Tag people down below. Check out Harley's website, and we'll catch you next Thursday.
And join us tomorrow on News for the Soul, where we'll dive into some of this stuff a little bit deeper. We can talk about more techniques and stuff. And and you can absolutely call in and ask questions that you might have for Harley. So that will be tomorrow. And yes, join us again next week. That was awesome. And I think we have to end on a chair dance because we didn't do the chair dance.
Ow, ow, ow.
We'll see you, Shoshana. Where's Shoshana? Thank you so much, Harley. It was awesome having you here today. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye.